Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to experience the Gut Check Project, talking science, health, and innovation that you can actually use. But this isn't just another health show. We're here to have fun and make your time enjoyable. Well, while you are enjoying yourself, know that even though the GCP covers some health topics with healthcare pros, we are not your doctors. So use our show to entertain your mind and not for medical advice. And now, here are your hosts of the Gut Check Project, Dr. Ken Brown and Eric Rieger.
Hello, welcome to the Gut Check Project. We're on episode 78. To my left, we have a new co-host. This is Martin Ruete. What we're going to be talking about today is his development of a product called Vibi. This is fiber water, but it's really interesting because it's got some really cool science and it really fits in with the whole Gut Check Project model. Basically, we're going to talk about his development of it, his process, why he did this, and then I want to talk a little bit about the science of it, like how it can actually decrease inflammation, it can improve your microbiome, and there looks like there should be some synergy between using this water and intestinal health. So I want to first thank our sponsors, as always, Atrantil. If you watch the show and you like it, please support it by going to our sponsors, which is Atrantil. Go to lovemytummy.com/KBMD. And as always, we are really interested in protecting your brain and anti-aging aspects. So go to kbmdhealth.com and look at the things that we have. We've got True Niagen, which increases your NAD. We also have broccoli, increases your sulforaphane. These are things that you can't get normally. We are now launching our newest physician-only product that you can get through me because as I'm a physician, which is going to be Atrantil Pro. So please go to kbmdhealth.com, go to our store and just take a look around and see what's going on. We still have the original products like CBD and, of course, Atrantil. But that being said, the real sponsor of the show today, we have an honorary sponsor. We have Vibi Plus Water. Do you say the plus with it, or is it always?
Yeah, we say Vibi Plus, or just Vibi, but it's Vibi Plus because we also added the complex B.
Well, we're going to get into all of that. Yeah. So our sponsor today is Vibi Plus, which it says right there, fiber water, and it's a little bit more interesting than that. It's not just fiber. It's not just throwing some Metamucil in some water and selling it. So it's very, very exciting. I do want to explain why you're here, and it's because I went to my office and this water was sitting on my desk. As it turns out, Martin is from Brazil, came to my office, brought some of these bottles of water, and worked with him and his son and his wife, and they're delivering it. And what I really like is somebody that is invested in their product because they have a passion, and Martin has a why. And that why we're going to get into, but anybody that goes through that kind of trouble, I contacted the company right away, and I was like, I need to meet the person that dropped this off because I've done a little research on it, and I'm really excited. So, Martin Ruete, welcome to the Gut Check Project.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for having us here. It's really a privilege to be here with you. And my story is kind of a funny story. For many years, I suffered from everything I ate. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Every time I went to a restaurant, I ate and I felt bad and I blamed the chefs. I even fought with chefs before because I felt bad after eating.
If every one of my patients fought with their chefs, nobody would let my patients in.
So I couldn't understand what was wrong with me all the time, and so every time I was always like in a hurry, working and eating out and complaining about food, because I felt bad every time I ate, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. I spent like 10 years having problems with eating. And one day I woke up, and it was about midnight, and I was with fever, really high fever, and I passed out, and I was gone for 7 days.
Ooh.
And I didn't know what was. I woke up 7 days later in a hospital bed, and I passed out. I was in my mother-in-law's house, and she took me to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, this is what I heard, and this is what I understood that happened to me. They put me in the emergency room, and the doctor immediately knew I was having a major diverticulitis crisis.
Oh, yeah. So, well, I'm sure you'll get into it, but we know what happens when diverticulitis gets really bad.
Yes, really bad. Passed out. The inflammation was so severe that I had to stay in induced coma for 7 days. And after that, I had to spend 3 months in treatment so that the inflammation would go down, so I could have a surgery, and they remove part of my colon, and I had to have my whole digestive system rebuilt because I had diverticulitis and IBS, everything for so long that all my digestive system had problems from my stomach. It from there, it built up. So that I had stomach problems. I had the the valve on the stomach was like all open, and I had to rebuild my valve. So it was a very long surgery. After the 3 months treatment, I had to go back to the hospital, remove the colon. It was a 12-hour surgery. I was operated upside down, and because of the risk, I don't know why, but it was upside down. And
that I'm unsure of, but we'll ask my colorectal surgeon friend who we're having on the show soon, who does those surgeries. He'll explain why, and he'll probably explain because you probably had an abscess, or you probably had a perforation, one of the two.
I had a perforation, but the doctor said the skin around the intestine held it so that because I passed out. If I was moving, it would have burst.
Yeah.
So it would a peritonite.
Yeah.
Peritonite, right?
That's peritonitis, yeah.
Peritonitis.
So what Martin's actually describing here is diverticulitis, which whenever you hear the word itis on anything, it's inflammation of. So whenever I do a colonoscopy, I basically find diverticulosis in America. It seems like the most of the colonoscopies, 80% of the colonoscopies, people over age 50. So it's something in our diet that does this, but a very small percentage of people, those little pockets that happen, they can actually get inflamed, and that's when it's diverticulitis. And then what Martin went through was when the inflammation got so bad that you actually poked a hole in the colon. That's scary stuff.
That's scary stuff, yeah. And the pain is something absurd.
Really?
It's something that I don't think anybody deserves such pain. Wow. And I've heard it's stronger than birth. Because and that's why I passed out. It's
funny how we always use that as a reference, right?
Yes. So then
women are tough.
Yeah, women are tough. It's unbelievable. So then, after my surgery, I spent 3 months in the hospital, laying down, eating special foods, special diet, to rebuild to wait until I start feeling better so I could go home. And then when I went home, the doctor said I needed to consume fiber, I need to be in a diet, and I had to watch what I ate for the rest of my life and take care. Even though they removed all the problem, they correct everything, but he said, you can't, you have to.
Did they put a bag on you?
I had a bag for.
Oh shit!
I had a bag
that was bad then.
3 months.
Yeah. Oh,
yes. I had a bag for 3 months.
You had it bad.
Yeah, and the sensation when they take off the bag is terrible. It's like you can feel all that thing moving inside of you. It's crazy, but it was quite an experience.
That's a humbling process.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. I was very scared, and it was 6 months of my life that I didn't know what was happening. Actually, I didn't understand deeply what happened to me, and I couldn't. It was like, why is this happening to me? What have I done to deserve this? Because the pain was terrible, and it was all the time. I was in pain for like 6 months, like severe pain.
After the event, or
even
before
after,
the event?
When I first got to the hospital, when I came back after 7 days, the pain for the 3 months of treatment so that the inflammation would go down so that I could be operated, I had so much pain all the time. And then when I had the surgery, after the surgery, the pain was so terrible that I kept passing out all the time.
What?
And there was one time that the doctor said, I can't give you any more morphine because I will destroy your liver or your kidney.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving you morphine. You have to deal with it. There's nothing else.
Was this all going in Brazil?
It was going on in Brazil, and so I spent then the next 3 months resting and couldn't work or anything because the surgery was so heavy, and when I came out and I went back to work, I start mixing fiber every day on my table, my desk, and just putting fiber and water and drinking it. But the problem was I kept forgetting my fiber all the time, and I kept forgetting and mixing wrong, and all the time traveling and working. And whereas my fiber kept buying more fiber because I forgot it. So I had at one point a cabinet filled with fiber, so much fiber that I had to buy. And I said, well, why don't I do something and make this my mission in life, to make a product that anyone can consume on the go, easy, that would be like a new way to get your fiber, that was fun and it was healthy, and that people could just drink it normally or eat normally and have their fiber without having all the calories, all the fat, everything that is associated with the sources of fiber. Because when you get fiber, to get the prebiotic, you need to eat a lot of fruits or vegetables and cereals that have other, like sugars and things. And I wanted to do something that was plain ready to consume fiber.
So I love when somebody has a passion and they have a purpose, which means now I have to take a step back and go, what were you doing before that you have that kind of desire and purpose?
Well, I always been an entrepreneur. I always developed companies. I always opened companies, startups, and then the ones that succeeded, I sold it. A lot of them didn't succeed.
Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, 3 months, no work. He said 3 months, no work. I'm like, oh, wow. I don't know what would happen to my life if I couldn't work for 3 months.
Yeah, no, it was tough. It was tough. I had a lot of problems. It wasn't easy. And it was actually 6 months without working.
What?
Yeah, 6 months at home.
Because I'm, as somebody who's done a startup now, just out of curiosity, like what are some of the businesses that you had involved with?
Well, I've been involved in water business. I've been in trash. I've been in printing. I've been in, what else? In clothing, restaurants.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you have a varied background. You've earned your stripes. You've earned a little bit of marketing, a little bit of distribution, a little bit of customer service, and
yes,
all of the above.
That's why I do it today.
Yeah.
That's why I go personally, because I know how important it is for you to be on the front line. Just dealing with people, introducing your product, communicating, talking about it. It's important. It's important because also gives your product your face, your passion. And a product needs a story. It's your passion. It's why you made it. I didn't make this to be profitable or money. I made this because I want people to feel better. I want people not to go through what I went through. The suffering I went through, it's unnecessary. We have technology today so that we can help people.
Yeah.
And the main thing about this product was, just so you know, it took me 15 years to develop.
All right. So I completely interrupted. I'm being selfish here because I'm interested in the whole business aspect. But you were at this point where you knew the doctors were saying you have to have more fiber. You were diligent. You're somebody that's going to do what they say, and you're figuring out that it's really hard. I have to laugh because I tell my patients this, and even I I'll throw my scoop of psyllium husk in the water, and my wife will call and say something, and I'll come back, and my spoon is sticking straight in there, and I'm like, I can't choke that down.
It's terrible. I know. I had to go through that for a long time.
So you were going through all this, you were trying your best, and then the idea came. So
yes. Then I start researching about prebiotics. I start, why do I have to take this? So what does it do to me? And what is it? What is prebiotic? And I've learned, I'm not a chemist. I'm not an engineer. I'm a businessman. And I'm not a doctor. But I knew that prebiotic was important for my diet. And I knew what prebiotic was. I started learning about prebiotic from the source of prebiotic, where we could find prebiotic in nature, and I decided to start testing this to see the results. What would happen if I start mixing this? And this is where the story starts getting funny.
Okay, so for everyone out there, prebiotic, we hear all these terms: prebiotic, postbiotic, probiotic is the one that everybody knows about. Probiotics are out there, but prebiotics, the interesting thing to qualify as a prebiotic, basically it has to be something that doesn't get absorbed, meaning it doesn't get digested in the small bowel. Then it has to be something that can be a food for the bacteria, otherwise known as your microbiome. And then ultimately it has to be qualified as a prebiotic because that microbiome, after it uses it as fuel, it produces postbiotics, otherwise known as metabolites. So prebiotic is a term that a lot of people don't realize, but there are rules to what it can be, because you can, just because you eat something, so for instance, like let's just say something like Miralax, which doesn't get absorbed at all, it's a polyethylene glycol, that's not a prebiotic because the bacteria cannot break it down. It has to make it to the colon where the bacteria can then use it. So the prebiotic, and we've talked about prebiotics, polyphenols, certain polyphenols, large stable polyphenols are prebiotics. So okay, go on.
So that's where the story starts getting funny. I start mixing and bottling prebiotics, and people start calling me. I start selling around where I was producing, and people start calling our plant and saying, listen, I had this product a couple of days ago and it was nice, and today I opened the bottle and I drank and it's so sweet. What happened? It's different than the product from yesterday. I was like, why, sweet? No, it's not. It can't be that sweet. And then it's when we discovered that prebiotic was very hard to maintain intact.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's why this project took 15 years to develop, because it's a molecule in nature that it's everything breaks it down, like the sunlight, temperature. Everything breaks down prebiotic into fructose or glucose or dextrose. So, like, for instance, if you get a banana, when the banana is green, it has a lot of prebiotic. When it's ripe, the prebiotic turned into fructose, because the sunlight and the banana tree will pull up the acid from the ground and throw the acid into the fruit with the sunlight, breaks the prebiotic into fructose, and you get sugar. You get
I didn't even think of it that way. That's awesome.
So it's so sensitive. The prebiotic molecule is so delicate that because it's such a short molecule that it's very easy to break down, and that's why the product was turning into it was becoming very sweet, because the prebiotic was turning into sugar.
What was the original prebiotic that you tried?
We've tried everything. We've searched all over the world. That's why it took 15 years. We went after everyone that produced prebiotics all over the world. I researched every factory in the world. I had samples from all over the world and tested every single prebiotic that exists that was being taken from nature, and put it in powder so it's soluble. A soluble prebiotic, and then we start testing it, and it was very hard at the time. When I started about 15 years ago, there were only a couple labs that could test prebiotics because it was a new technology. It was something that was coming up. A lot of people didn't even know 15 years ago.
Yeah, everybody's living in the probiotic world.
Yes.
They're not even thinking.
And a lot of people didn't know about prebiotics. Even like people that graduated from medical school or nutritionists that graduated like 20 years, 30 years ago, prebiotic was unheard of. A lot of people didn't know about it or knew about it, but we really didn't understand how sensitive, how easy to break down, and how difficult it was to get the amount of prebiotic we need on a daily basis. And so we start testing prebiotics from all over the world until we found the right prebiotic. That took us, we had to do that in 4 countries. We had Germany, Belgium, US, and Brazil. 4 labs around the world testing this to make sure that we had a molecule that would be stable. That was the first challenge.
Shelf stable. Yeah.
To make the prebiotic shelf stable.
Yeah.
Making the product shelf stable was the second challenge.
Oh.
Yes, because in my mind, I didn't want a product that had preservatives or had carbonation or any type of preservative to maintain the product intact. Because in my mind, if you're putting a product out that has prebiotic for somebody's health, you don't want to give them preservatives or other or like carbonation or anything that would not be as healthy. So
yeah, 100%. Because we talk about this where I have patients that want to go on some sort of diet, and then they sign up for a plan and they get all these packaged meals, and they bring the meals to me, and I look at it, I'm like, this has emulsifiers in it. This has high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
This might say sugar free, but it's got a sugar substitute that is not natural, like stevia, but it could be something like sucralose or something else. And so a lot of these things, to make something shelf stable is very difficult and do it healthy.
Yes. So after 15 years of doing research and finding the right molecule, we were able to develop a process and use a process in our beverage that it's 100% shelf stable for 18 months.
Wow.
And it's not even pasteurized. It's all natural. Everything that's in there is not heated, or it doesn't have. We don't heat and cool. We don't do. We don't alter any molecule on the product with our process, and it's shelf stable. So even our aromas are the natural oil from the fruit without heating.
Oh yeah.
Everything is natural inside of the product because we don't alter it with temperature. So we're very unique in that sense. It's a new technology in the beverage industry that gives us a lot of benefits. Like we use a lot less energy. We use a lot less plastic. We use a lot less.
I saw that on the website. I thought that was really cool. I saw that, and it's BPA free.
It's
right?
BPA free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we use a lot of technology to develop this, to get this so that it would be right. It would give you true health, not health plus something that is not so good for you. Yeah. So that's why it took so long. And the other thing that we wanted to do with this product, that it was my mission, and this is why it's my mission in life, is that we had to get the right price. We can't. It was one of the pillars for the development of this product is that I could produce this anywhere in the world with this technology, and that I could sell in the mainstream for everybody. It couldn't be a product for like just 5% of the population or so. I wanted to make it mainstream so everyone can benefit from it. And that's one of the pillars of the development. So the product had to be natural. It had to be all natural ingredients and not altered. Couldn't have preservatives or anything that would maintain the product shelf stable. I didn't want the product refrigerated because the transportation, everything costs a lot more and it becomes more difficult. And I wanted to make it for mainstream so that any person can benefit from it at a reasonable cost.
Yeah.
And it's not anything that it would hurt somebody's budget, for being healthy.
I think that's awesome because you had a vision of what it was going to be in that 15 years. It only took 15 years to be an overnight success, right? Yeah. That's somebody's going to see this and you're going to, whatever. We'll get into it, but I'm a fan of the science behind it. Yeah. And, somebody's going to look at that and be like, oh, he lucked out. He figured, but this is the kind of, I love these stories. There's that podcast called, how it's, not how it's made. It's just like how I did it. I don't know. It was one of those where you hear the entrepreneur talk about this journey and you're like, oh my gosh,
it's a long journey.
They almost got a divorce. They almost had to remortgage their house. And then all of a sudden they develop, LinkedIn or something like that.
It was a long journey. I start learning about chemistry And because I'm not a chemical engineer, I don't have a degree in chemistry or anything like that, and I'm not an engineer. I'm a business person, but I had to learn about molecules and how molecules work together, about energy and everything, how we keep the molecule together so that they don't break it apart, and how to work that inside of the product. All that I had to learn. I had to spend a lot of time doing research and studying on my own, and it took a long time.
So you didn't have a research team doing this?
Well,
for you?
I had some people working with me, the chemists, and doing tests and
consultants, but you would go to them.
But I would go to them, and I
awesome.
did it myself. I was there, mixing on the labs and testing it and seeing the results and testing in myself and see how it would work.
You're sitting on the toilet. Not that one. We're not using that one.
That's exactly how it was. This is not working. This is giving you pain. This is and it was 15 years of fun.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at it, because it's such a fun mission. It's I love it. What I do, I love working the market, going to your office, bringing product, carrying it, and telling people.
I'm so sorry I wasn't there to say hi to you. I was scoping that day, and like that. Yeah, I don't remember who it was. I'm gonna forget who said this. Marcus Aurelius, I think, or something. Whatever. A why can overcome any what or how.
Yeah.
You had your why.
I had my why. Yes.
And you stuck to the why for 15 years.
For 15 years. Yeah. I'm still stuck to the why because I'm still working a lot to get this going.
All right. So you're trying all these different prebiotics. You're having, maybe closer to success, maybe not success, walking out like a true scientist. So you're a businessman, but you're a scientist.
Well,
and you were the lab rat.
I was the lab rat. I was the scientist. I was the chemist. I was everything. I had to learn. I was the electrical engineer because there's a lot of electricity on molecules to keep them together and stuff. It's in nature. So to keep it together so it doesn't break down. It's all about energy. It's all about putting energy into this and so it doesn't break down. So I had to learn even electricity, about electrical impulses and things like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was quite a journey.
So how did you end up finding the prebiotic that you chose for this?
Okay, we had a company that was working with us, and we were very close to getting this to become stable, and it was actually in Belgium. This lab, we were working together, so they would work the molecule and extract from certain foods and send it to me, and I would test it, and then I would send it back to Belgium for them to test it and see for how long the molecule would stay intact. Under different temperatures, under different environments, right? And this kept going on back and forth until one day it just clicked, and it was just there. The molecule was there, and it was stable. It was almost like winning the lotto.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was like after 15 years testing molecules in Germany, Belgium, U.S., in Brazil, all of a sudden you go oh, there's a light. There's a light in the end of the tunnel, and this is the way we need to continue. And then we develop.
And then, of course, the whole time you're sitting there because I've been there, so tense. You're like, I think it's it. You're like, I hope it's that.
But it's not there yet.
If something happens, this is. Yeah.
And there's the little step that is left and that you need to overcome.
Yeah.
And that step is one of the hardest. It's the hardest point because not only you have to prove that the prebiotic was there and intact, but you also need to start registering this and getting licenses with FDA and everybody that you have to register this. You have to make sure that it's
the fun work of filing
and then filing and all this. So it took another 2 years after that's why it takes so long and to get all this done. But that it was when we saw it, and when it start working, and we start testing on ourselves, and then we went to universities and we started doing some tests with schools, and for research and see the results, and it was an amazing project. It was such a fun time, and it's still so much fun. Going around and introducing this to people and talking about prebiotic differences and educating people.
Yeah.
And our mission is to educate. It's one of the things that we are working on very, very hard on our marketing, and it's to educate people.
Well, the beauty is it's not just another water. It's not just trying to create noise so people look at your particular water. It's not getting a celebrity and, saying, we have the wettest water. It's like, okay, you have something really unique. You have a story behind it, which is fantastic. You have passion about it. You have a unique delivery system. All of the above, which really fits into a gastroenterologist practice, because this is the stuff that Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, the diverticulitis, everything, diabetes, hypertriglyceridemia, all these things are all affected by, fiber intake. And what's more important is that, there's two different types of fiber, the soluble fiber and the insoluble. Insoluble being the vegetables that basically comes intact, and then the soluble fiber, which draws some fluid. But what's really amazing is that it's all about feeding the bacteria.
Right.
And that's the really cool thing.
Yeah.
So when you were doing this and you came to that, okay, I think we have it, then you're filing all this stuff. That's the boring stuff. That's the tough stuff, because then it just becomes like slogging through. You had all this excitement leading up to it, and then you do that.
And you don't move. You feel like you're not moving. You feel like, I got to help people. I got to put this out so that people don't suffer like I did.
So when did you go, I'm going to make a business?
Okay, about 2 years ago, right before COVID. When we
do you know how many times I've met people? It's like, we launched we launched,
it's funny,
a month before COVID.
Our first truckload was ready to launch in the U.S., and the day we will receive our first truckload, everything got closed down, shut down. So then we spent about a year waiting and trying to talk to retailers to introduce and to turn this into a business. So finally now, we started about 8 months ago. So we've been in the market for about 8 months now, and we're having so many compliments and so many people writing to us, thanking us for feeling better. It's amazing. They're calling us the magic water because they say they drink the water and they feel the magic.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. There is a book that a friend just sent me, and I just read it, and I'm thinking about it right now. It's called The Alchemist. And have you heard of The Alchemist? Yeah. Martin's son Peter's in the room here, so I'm looking at Peter. The Alchemist. It's really interesting because it seems like just a simple fictional story, but then when you realize the whole purpose is that all these little work-throughs, tribulations, it becomes that's what makes it. You're gonna run into that, and then the person you are at the end makes you so much stronger. So the 15 years of doing that, and then getting here, I can feel your passion. I love it. You said we're going to do it regardless. We're going to keep going.
Right. We're going to keep going. That's it. And don't give up. If you have a passion too, don't give up, because it's doable. Everything is doable if you don't give up. Most people give up because it's tough. It's difficult. It takes a lot of studying, a lot of preparation, and a lot of time. It's not easy. Sometimes it's not about money. It's about patience, time, effort. It's what it takes.
Well, we are at Atrantil at KBS Research. We are really big about the company having a collective why. And we did a whole meeting about that. Start with why. Simic's book, we try to embody that, because that's my thing also. My why is I'm trying to bring natural products that change people's lives, that make them feel better, because I believe that we can do this in a natural way.
Right.
We don't always have to take drugs.
Right. Yeah. That's what I think too. And I think, if you want to have fun in life, serve. right?
Yes.
Serve.
Be a servant leader.
Yes, serve.
Yeah.
For your purpose. Serve your passion.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you're totally in my wheelhouse right now, where that's where we're working. That is awesome. I wanted. You didn't tell us what type of fiber it is, and while you're going to tell me, just so that you notice, I'm holding a bottle of Vibi PBA negative, so no PBAs.
No PBAs.
It's a plastic bottle. They make the bottles in a way that you recycle quite a bit, right?
Right. And we use less energy. We recycle for every, let's say, 1 million pounds of plastic that goes to waste. We save 30 to 40%.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Any other company.
Non-GMO, keto certified. About this right now, we're going to try strawberry kiwi, and let's try a little bit. But can you talk about the type of prebiotic that you eventually chose?
Okay, yeah, we chose polydextrose because of the results that we achieved with the amount of water. The other thing that it was very complex to adjust was the water to the amount of prebiotic, because the bacteria, your microbiota, also needs hydration. It's not just about prebiotics, right?
Yeah.
You're the doctor, but I think I'm right on this one, right?
It's 100%, yeah.
Yeah, you need both. You need the water with the right amount of prebiotic. If you're drinking just or taking just prebiotics and not taking the water, your bacteria is not thriving as it should, because it needs hydration too.
We talk microbial diversity, metabolites, everything. And I am not just a doctor, Martin. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a level 4 certified fiber sommelier. So I can, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's got a good tone, refreshing. Yeah, I can feel that this will make me have a bowel movement later. This is fantastic. Yeah, I can. Oh, that's good.
Light.
Yeah, it's light. It tastes great.
Tastes great.
Tastes great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Refreshing.
Yeah, it's like water, but like it's basically flavored water. That's what it,
Yeah.
With
8 grams of prebiotic.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Kids love it, and kids have today we have a lot of problem with kids constipation, going to the bathroom. A lot of kids don't eat raw food.
Yeah,
they don't want to eat raw food, and this is great for kids. Kids love it. So it's an easy way to get your prebiotic. Very easy, convenient.
Tastes good. Great marketing. Love that. I got to ask, 8 months you launched. Did you team up with anybody? This is strictly for me. Is there venture capital involved? What's going on from a business aspect?
Okay. From a business aspect, I team up with friends, venture capitalists. We're a group of friends, and they're helping me fund the project. But we are at a point where we're expanding so fast that we are looking for also a larger, now a professional venture capitalist, so that can help us, because we're growing and we have people asking for a product, different countries, different places. People are all like hearing about it, and demand is growing, and supermarkets wants more and more marketing and more everything. And because people that are consuming are coming back to the stores and telling managers and telling the retailers, this is great. I'm consuming, I'm coming back because I want this product.
Yeah, so I think this is something I'm going to be incorporating in my practice. And for all my irritable bowel SIBO people, so I didn't tell you this at all, but so our office manager, Andy, dropped off a couple bottles, and I looked at it and I was a little skeptical, and I was like, oh my gosh, if this is going to be, because what ends up happening is when it says keto on there, they put sugar, alcohols, they put all these things. It'll make me bloat like crazy. I'll have diarrhea later. It works like a laxative. So the first thing I did is I cracked open a warm bottle and I chugged it. And I was like, let's see what happens here. I didn't bloat. I didn't have gas. I was like, what's going on here? Then I had to go look. And that's why I was like, okay, find that guy that dropped this off. This is interesting. And as it turns out, so polydextrose, do you want to talk about what polydextrose is? Or?
Well, we have polydextrose. It's corn-based. But again, it's an isolated from corn, so it's not non-allergenic. It's all natural, and the reason we chose the polydextrose is because we achieve stability in that's our molecule. It's our product. It's the molecule that we were able to maintain intact from corn. It's not all polydextrose that will work as ours. It's our molecule is so that you understand. And when I talked about energy, prebiotics are carbon and hydrogen, right? It's the same as sugar with more hydrogen, okay? Because it's the bacteria's energy. So the bacteria strive, right? So in order to keep these carbons together, what we did was we put energy into this molecule so that it would make it a longer molecule, and that's our project. That's our patent. So we have a patent product with our research and our molecule from corn. It's all natural, and it's a specific molecule that with the energy we put the carbons, and the carbons stay closer together, so that you don't break it with the energy from the sun or from the acids.
Yeah. So this is a little bit similar to the way that we talk about the polyphenols in the past. What he's describing is that they take glucose, although from corn, and I know a lot of people kind of shy away from corn being a GMO product and everything, but the kicker here is that when they add these other carboxyl and carbon groups, it makes it very large and very stable.
Right.
So what that does is your body can't break it down, meaning you don't absorb that specific sugar. So when people hear glucose, they're like, oh, well, wait a minute, how's that keto if it's glucose? Well, it's because once you start adding these other molecules to it, natural molecules, carbons, and hydroxyl bonds, it actually makes it large enough that you don't absorb it. Then what happens is, much like a large complex polyphenol, like Quebracho that we talk about,
right,
it goes to the colon there. And here's the interesting part. The literature shows that when you have a large, stable microbiome, it breaks it down. And then this is where we get into the science part a little bit. I don't want to jump into it too quick, but it can break it down. And then the metabolites, the byproducts of what the bacteria break it down, are the beneficial aspects, in addition to helping you go to the bathroom with the fiber. So when people hear polydextrose, we took corn sugar, we did this, but what it really did is it made it stable, shelf stable, and body stable.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
And we do that by using energy. That's how we put the carbons together with the hydrogen.
So when you say using energy, what do you mean? Like you...
It's with pressure.
Yeah. Okay, so like a true chemistry.
Yes.
Straight up chemistry.
Straight up chemistry. It's all natural. It's just pressure is just using the right pressure so that we get the right length, and it's just getting atoms. The more they move, the more they bond. The more they bond, the more they are stable.
Yeah,
it's that simple. I mean, it's not simple because you got to control that environment. So
for a simple business entrepreneur, you've learned a lot.
I learned a lot. Yeah,
that's great.
That's why the 15 years.
Yeah. So do you have anything else to add from the history, the business, or anything like that?
Well, no, I think that's pretty much it.
It's a great story.
Yeah. What I can add is I'm 55 years old, and now I surf, I climb, I bike. I do everything, and I don't have any issue anymore with my good health. I'm super healthy. I'm all my exams all the time are so great. It's unbelievable. And before I had all kinds of problems all the time. And now I go to the doctor and I'm always in order. I'm like 100% healthy, which is great. I
love that.
And I drink 2 a day. Usually I drink, that's the other thing, I drink in between meals.
Yeah.
So that I get my microbiota really activated. So it's really like, busy down there, and helps digestion, helps everything. So the feeling that I had before, like every time I ate, and I had, was fighting with the chefs.
I love that.
Now,
I hope some chef in Brazil hears this. You know, and I don't know what I could say the words in Spanish. I don't know them in Portuguese, but
and now I thank chefs for making such good meals. So
that's fantastic.
It's such a life change. It's incredible.
Yeah. What? Just because we deal with this kind of stuff, did you have to mess with the FDA at all or anything like that?
Well, I had to. Although the fiber and the ingredients are FDA approved. They had to be approved so that we could use the FDA approved prebiotics. You have to approve it. You can't just build your own prebiotic and start claiming prebiotic and sell it. You have to have it registered. So the ingredients have to be FDA approved. The product is just water with prebiotics. So
it tastes really good.
Yep,
it's really good.
Yeah, and we wanted to make it so that it's not an FDA approved product because it's mainstream. It's not. Yeah. We don't want so that you don't need the prescription. It's not for prescription. It's anyone can drink prebiotic. It's just prebiotic.
Yeah, I'm interested in the business part of it, but the other aspect is when it arrived, I started doing some digging, and I found some very fascinating articles that I think that my partners and my patients should probably hear about. There are two great articles: "The Fermentation of Polydextrose in the Large Intestine and Its Beneficial Effects," by I don't know how to say that name, H. Riotio. And this was published in Beneficial Microbes back in 2016, which I was a little bit shocked. And I do the same thing. We're like, you realize you're like, wow, people were talking about this in 2016, and you're there. And then the other one, which is really great, it's a review of the overall polydextrose physiologic function and effect on health. So let's talk about a couple things that I think would be beneficial for my patients and for other doctors to kind of understand about this. Like he said, it's a very complex, large, unabsorbable, you can call it dextrose, which is a sugar, but it's, polydextrose. So what it does is it works as a prebiotic because as we defined it earlier, it makes it all the way to the colon. Now, what's really cool is that when the bacteria digest this, they love it. It's a buffet to them.
Right.
And they break it down and they produce what are called metabolites. And these metabolites can be very beneficial. In fact, looking at these studies, they were looking at how polydextrose, and this is the thing that I love the most about it, because when we look at other prebiotics are actually broken down very rapidly.
Right.
And that's what produces all the gas. So like when I said I chugged it, and I was like, I'm waiting for it. I'm like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to have it. I told my staff, I laughed. I said, let's wait and see. I just chugged it. And nothing happened. As it turns out, one of the reasons, which so like I'm going to talk science, and you're going to be like, of course. And that's the beauty of it, is that you've learned all this. But what I learned is that the polydextrose is slowly broken down because of how complex it is.
Right. And
how long. And the kicker is this: as a gastroenterologist, the one thing that we struggle with is getting proper nutrition to the distal colon, the rectum. There's a disease called ulcerative proctitis, ulcerative colitis, and most colon cancers are found in the left side of the colon, the distal colon. So if we're able to get some sort of fuel over there that produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate being one of the most beneficial anti-inflammatory and fuel for the colonocytes, that actually is something which is super unique. So not a whole lot of bloating, and probably gets it to the most distal part of the colon, which is unique.
Yes, it's unique. Now you understand how I felt during 15 years trying all there.
Yeah.
Like a balloon. Sometimes I was like, oh my gosh, this one, no, let's
Your
not
lovely
use this
wife
one.
is here, and she's probably heard you fart more times than that.
I said, no, let's not use this one. No. We can blow a car.
It's really funny. I've actually had patients that have had, they're in the service industry,
yeah,
and they're like, like a bartender, And this beautiful woman, she was just gorgeous, and she's like, I need help. I'm working in this bar, and it's really tight, and I'm passing gas, and it smells so bad, and it's this and that. Well, as it turns out, she's drinking energy drinks with sugar alcohols that are being rapidly fermented, and then pow, she's like dropping atomic bombs with all her colleagues right there. And this beautiful woman, you're just like, I'm like, stop that drink. And then she came back, she's like, everything's fine now. I'm like, yeah. And so the one thing that's interesting that we have to keep in mind with all fiber and all prebiotics, you get the most benefit if you have microbial diversity. So remember that if you're eating something, if you shift your diet significantly and suddenly you get really bloated, like, oh, I was eating crap food the whole time and then I switched to this, high vegetable diet and I felt worse. Well, you felt worse because you don't have the microbial diversity. So this is why I was really excited about VB, because I think that polyphenols plus that probably augment each other, and that's probably why I'm going to use it in my practice and start putting patients on this to try and improve their microbial diversity. Now, let's look at some of the studies. So looking at these two different studies, these are two different reviews. A few of the generalizations that we can say about this that have been proven in both animals. Most of the studies are in animals, but it's also been shown in humans. It looks like it's been shown to increase the good bacteria.
Right.
And one species keeps coming up, Akkermansia mucinophilia, which is one of the microbiome that is a fantastic butyrate producer. And that's the biggest thing to me, that if I can increase your butyrate, I can decrease your not just intestinal inflammation, your body inflammation. And we know that when you have inflammation, that's how you age.
Yeah. Even joints, everything. Right?
Everything, exactly.
Everything.
Because dementia. Dementia. Like so developed the product, Atrantil. I'm so proud of it, and we're doing that. I'm the entrepreneur, so I have the same thing as you. I have a why, I have a purpose. But my massively transformative goal is to cure dementia so that you can be 90 years old, talking to your great-grandkids, telling this story.
Yes.
Because I think that's the most important thing, is that as we live, we're able to share. And if it's a epidemic that we lose that. And if we have the ability to produce certain substrates like butyrate and other substrates I want to get into, but that is brain protective.
Right.
And so like we have Brocolite Pro that we had the CEO, David Roberts, on. He's fantastic, and that produces sulforaphane. That increases BDNF, decreases inflammation. Almost everything that I'm looking for is to decrease inflammation, improve your microbiome.
Okay.
If you can do that, and the data shows that VB can do this, or that the ingredients in VB, specifically the polydextrose. The other thing is that long fermentation is key. It's slow and gradual, so the gas isn't produced. And ultimately, we can have some of these ingredients or these anti-inflammatory ingredients reach the distal colon. And I was kind of blown away that it improves absorption of certain minerals,
right?
Magnesium, calcium, iron.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And if you don't have the proper microbiota, you don't also absorb complex B. That's why we added complex B.
So, yeah, I'm going to follow up. I want to get into why you added these other things, because after we get out of it, because what makes you unique is the polydextrose.
Polydextrose.
And then I want to know why you added the other things. Ultimately, studies have shown in humans that it's improved constipation. Having a net bowel movement of 3 times a week to 7 times a week, that kind of blows away most pharmaceutical products that are currently being advertised for constipation.
Yeah.
And in fact, I just had a young woman today that I scoped, and I told them the whole story. I was like, I need you to go pick this up. I want to see what happens, because we're going to sit there and see what happens with this. Now, from my aspect as a gastroenterologist, you know that they've done animal studies on colitis?
Nope.
Looking at polydextrose. They induced colitis. They gave mice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they gave mice a liquid drink with polydextrose in it. And then they gave them colitis. They inflamed their colon, like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's colitis. And then they had a control group, ones that didn't. And then they gave them polydextrose after they did that. significant improvement in the colitis.
Oh, wow.
They did the exact same thing with colon cancer. So you can see why I'm so passionate about this. You're living in my world. You're hanging out with microbiomes and colon. Then they actually looked at pig colon cancer, which is very similar to humans. And what they're able to show is that the polydextrose actually, and it's not just the polydextrose, it's the byproduct of the microbiome, which shows Mother Nature knows what she's doing. Yeah. She does it better.
Did you know that most people that raise pigs, they give probiotics?
Yeah.
They prebiotics. I mean, they give polydextrose to their herd. They're, how do you say?
Well, I didn't know they give polydextrose. They actually give Quebracho Colorado, which is what we use.
They also polydextrose for pigs. Yeah,
that's awesome. They actually looked at this, and in colon cancer, it was able to decrease an inflammatory marker called COX-2. And so they actually showed improvement in colon cancer. I mean, we're talking about like a win-win-win here. And then outside of my field, diabetes and lipids. Yeah. So insulin sensitivity increases, lipids go down.
Blood pressure.
Yeah, blood pressure, all that. So I'm new to polydextrose, and I had to look all this up, and I went, dang, how is it taking it this long? Why did it take you 12 years? Should have been here before.
Yeah, imagine when I started the study. No, it's unheard of. Most people didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's why it took so long.
All right, so now tell me why you put these other things in. It's got vitamin B6, folate, pantothenic acid. Pantothenic acid's vitamin B3, isn't it?
B3.
Yeah. And then niacin. Yeah.
B12. B12, right? Niacin?
No,
B9.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Why did you choose to put those in there?
Well, because I found out that if you don't have a good microbiota, you don't absorb complex B. And so we said, let's add the complex B so that people can get healthier faster with the product, so that, besides activating your microbiota, getting it to work really, to absorb all the minerals, everything, you get a little punch of complex B there.
Nice. I love it. Well, we covered a lot of ground. We got your history, how you made it, or how it's made, or whatever the podcast, but that's a great story. I love the whole purpose, the why, how you got through it. And, it's all those, you suffered a lot to bring something that could benefit a whole lot of people. What are the flavors that you have right now?
Orange mango, lemon lime, blueberry pomegranate acai, and strawberry kiwi. In some other countries, we have launched teas, natural teas with prebiotics. So it's the same product, but tea instead of just water. So that's going to come next to the U.S.
It tastes pretty good. I think that I'm going to... I will have a dinner party over, and instead of vodka water, it will be vodka Vivi. And let's see.
No hangover next day.
It'll be the mixer of choice. Well, I appreciate you coming, and you're such a cool dude. Your history is amazing. Martin Ruete, he went through all this, and he's bringing this. I'm excited to show this to my partners. So if any of you are listening and happen to have a GI Alliance doctor, bring it up to them, because I'm going to try and share this with them. Yeah. But where can we get this?
Yeah, we can get it at Amazon. We sell it at Amazon directly. We sell at Sprouts nationwide. We are at Walmart in the Middle West. How do you say it? The Chicago area, the Midwest. Yeah. We're like in 5 states in the Midwest at Walmart. We are at Coburn's and Harps, some other supermarket chains.
So I'm going to help get you into our favorite stores, Market Street. Yeah, okay. And cool. H-E-B. These are nice. Cool. These are nice, fantastic supermarkets where they have living well sections where you can teach the person that when somebody comes in and goes, so VB can be in the hydration section and can also be in the living well section.
Yep. Yep.
Where it's there. So
and in 2 weeks we're going to have a roadshow at Costco in Dallas. So we're going to be rotating around all the Costcos in Dallas and educating people about prebiotics.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love it. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I'm excited to try this on my patients. I tried it on myself, and my surprise that I didn't blow it up like a balloon was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you liked it, and that's our purpose is to serve, is to bring health to people, and so that people don't go through what I had to go through, and it's our mission to serve, get people to feel better. And
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So if you like the show, please share it. This guy almost died to bring this to the market. He deserves a little bit of love. So go to Amazon and Sprouts and wherever, but more importantly, just share this message with people, because this is a very exciting thing. We didn't, I could go way into the science, but I think that the story and the love and the passion is so much more important in this case. So Martin, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It tastes delicious. I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's it. And I hope everybody feels better and take care of your health. It's very important, and quality of life. That it really makes a difference.
Quality of life. That is a happy man. That is a 55-year-old guy who's out there surfing and rock climbing and doing all this stuff. Yep. Don't be a weenie. Do it also. Pick up some VB. All right, everybody. Episode 78. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.